Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a really interesting knife review slash knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Giant Mouse GM8. Wow, what a good looking knife. So apparently these were limited to 300 pieces. There's also a GMP8, which apparently is a slightly different knife. I don't know if this is still available or not. You can check it out at the Giant Mouse Knives website if you'd like. Thank you so much to Adnan. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, for sending this in for review. Let me give you guys his Instagram here real quick. Right there. Sofian Abbasi. Check him out on Instagram. It's because of people like him that I'm able to bring you guys daily knife content. So thank you very much for sending this. This will be returned to you after the review is over. Thanks so much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. There's a link for Patreon right down below. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and get a measurement. Gosh, that's a good looking knife. Overall length, the GM8. Let me show you actually the box here. It literally just says Giant Mouse GM8, right? Overall length of the GM8 coming in at 8 1/4 inches. Overall, honestly looks bigger than that, but it's 8 1/4. Blade lengths coming in about 3.4. Cutting edge, about 3 1/4. How about some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat Model 2. So yeah, you can see here, let me move this guy down. It's a big knife, right? Full-size knife, right? Not a huge knife, right? Not giant, right? When I say big, I mean, generically speaking, a big knife. How about up against the PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3? Once again, closer to the size of the PM2. Honestly looks like, you know, I don't know, just like a fancier, well-dressed cousin of the PM2, right? It's just more, you know, he fancy. How about up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and its cousin, the Benchmade Bugout. Again, closer to the size of the Ritter Hogue. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. So thickness up against the, here, let's do action here real quick. So with a lot of Giant Mouse knives, what I've experienced is kind of subpar action. But this guy, while it's tight, it is at least consistently smooth, and I'm not feeling the grind that I normally feel with, you know, a Giant Mouse. This feels really similar to, I don't know, like a Wii knife, right? It's not like amazing. It's plenty smooth, and you can use that little hole there to reverse flick it, right? We've got kind of a hook-shaped flipper tab, but no double clutch. Perhaps it'll smooth up over time. Not necessarily spectacular action, but good and consistent, right? Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It's actually thinner than you might think. It's a little thinner than the Para 3. Again, not stock scales, but just the exact same thickness as the stock scales. I understand. People are going to say, those are the skinny scales, which is going to make people go, they're thinner because they're called skinny. No, it's this area right here that's cut out. It's not the thickness of the scales that are changed. Anyways, up against the PM2 and Para 3, you can see here, even with a flipper tab, it's nowhere near as tall. These are definitely shorter. This way, it's longer than the Para 3 and about the exact same body length, maybe a tiny bit shorter than the PM2. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check on this guy. I'll get out my tools here. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the description where I talk about my tools. The pivot is definitely a T8, yes. And then the body screws are going to be T6. I don't have to check those to know that. It's pretty minimal. Looks like there's just a couple on each side. I think it's worth noting that the pocket clip appears to be a T8. Yeah, so the pocket clip is a T8. All right. Not bad. I wish that everything was T8, but you can't always get what you want. Just like the song says, right? Materials and weight. So we have M390 satin finish, and we have some beautifully textured titanium scales, some anodized titanium parts, right? 3D milled pocket clip. Do we have any milling on the inside? No. I won't make you take my word for it. Let's take a look. Yeah, there's no milling on the inside. These are numbered, by the way. You can see that 141 back there. Like I said, these particular ones limited to 300 pieces. I don't know what the GMP8 was limited to. I imagine it's also limited. Weight, I'm going to guess this thing weighs 4¼ ounces. Hey, that was pretty close. 4.2 ounces. Okay, ratios aren't perfect, but that's not bad, right? Doesn't bother me. It might bother you if you don't like bigger knives. Knives on the heavier side. 4.2 ounces isn't that heavy, but you know, most people's standard for heavy is above 3 ounces. So there you go. Do with that information what you will. Blade stock thickness. That looks like 135 thousandths. So it's not going to stand up perfect because of the radius backspacer, but we'll get it. Where's my... I swear to God, those things are absolutely... There they are. I need to put some pink tape on these things. Absolutely ridiculous. Bell or a neon light or something. Yeah, okay, 135. Oh, man, 2 for 2 today. 135 thousandths there. Okay, not too thick, not too thin. Have we done everything? Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about this. This is beautiful. I think this is arguably one of Giant Mouse's, if not Giant Mouse's, most beautiful knives. And I would say that, you know, functionally, in terms of like the design and the feel and everything like that, I own one Giant Mouse knife. I've reviewed a few. None of them quite have perfect ergonomic lines or the most ideal aesthetic, at least for me. This is a good looking knife. It is very, very comfortable. Radiused spine or crowned spine, right? Nice ergonomic lines, very comfortable. Flat pocket clip with a good ramp. Oh boy, that is a joy to grip. That is very comfortable. Nice contoured titanium with some knocking down or chamfering of these corners. The texturing on the titanium is beautiful. That's really nice and offers meaningful traction, which is... That's cool, right? There's a little bit of a choil up there. I don't know if I'm really ever going to put my finger up there because it's just one knuckle, and I don't even know if that's safe, right? Flipper tab is a bit hooked. I think it could definitely stand to be less pointy, but it works. I wouldn't push button it. That's a bit uncomfortable. I would light switch it, right? There's no double clutch. That detent ball is well up on the face of the blade by the time that flipper tab contacts your thumb. Nice access to this... frame lock here. They've knocked the edges down, and it's this show side is cut below the lock a little bit, so it's easy to engage from the side, which is what we want. Nice access to that opening hole there. The edges or the corners have been knocked down, so it's not going to eat up your fingers. You can definitely do the reverse flick. Beautiful. Blade, oh man, awesome, awesome trailing point blade. I was reading about on somebody said something about pirates. I don't know. I don't necessarily think about pirates when I look at this knife. It just looks like a nice clip point blade, right? This is M390, and the edge is done very well. Nice, sticky, bitey edge that comes down fairly thin. Clip point's not known for durability, but that'll definitely puncture if you need it to. Real nice, and you know, the satin finish is not my favorite thing in the whole world, but they did a good job with it. It looks nice and consistent, right? To give you guys a look here, reflecting off all my my diffuser sheets, that's the white that you're seeing there, right? Looks nice. I love that they contour. Giant Mouse does this a lot, right? Not all this area is nicely knocked down up on the swedge, right? But the spine is nice and crowned. It's just beautiful. They have a nice little pivot collar there that looks good, breaking up that black and gray. Fit and finish on this, good. One thing, we're going to talk about it. It's a big thing. Lanyard hole, okay, it's there. I love that they radius the backspacer, added some jimping. I don't know that I'll ever use it, but it looks nice, right? The sort of blue jeans, like kind of the matte blue, looks good up against the gray and the black. I think that looks really nice and classy. I love the pocket clip. It honestly, it stands out as a totally different piece in relationship to the rest of the knife. In fact, the lines on the clip look completely different, but for whatever reason, it still goes with the knife. Not a big fan of them putting the Giant Mouse logo on it, but okay. The clip itself, though, I like it, and it carries, you know, fairly deep. It's not super long, which is great. I like shorter clips. And we have a continuous range. It kind of points down, but in and out of the pocket with one hand, yeah, you can just, no problem. Texturing, they probably should have, oh, you know what? Let me retract that. Hang on. Whoops, let me get the pocket lint out of here. I was about to say they probably should have put a smooth part underneath the pocket clip. Can we see? Let me get the light on it. They actually did. I didn't catch that. Gosh darn it, I can't hold on to anything today. Oh, can we get rid of that shadow? Oh, I don't know if we're going to be able to see it. Yeah, there you go. They did put a smooth part under there. That's nice. Nice touch, right? No mounting position for lefties. Sorry, lefties. That's a bummer, but okay. We have a lock bar insert that doubles as the over travel stop. We are locking up at about 40%. There is perfect centering. The centering is great. We have a traditional stop pin right there. Can you see it? Right. I think we have some shouldering. Yeah, we have actually very deep shouldering back there, so it's wrapping around the stop pin nicely. We have no pivot lash, no detent lash, but 10 minutes in, there's a but. Oh boy. I knew that this was going to be a problem the first time I looked at this. I knew it. See the geometry there? It's so steep on the tang, and I thought, oh no. Oh no, it's going to have lock rock. It's going to have slip. Yeah. Little bit. Just a little bit. But gosh darn it. That's what, on these frame locks, that geometry cannot be so steep. I don't know why they do that, if it's to keep the lock bar from wearing over. Here, this lockup is actually, I don't know if you guys can hear it. There's actually an audible click. Can't be that, it can't be that steep. Maybe that's to prevent stick. I'll take a little bit of stick for proper lock. That's on a frame lock, it's so important. I mean, is it likely to slip? Probably not, but you know, it's like I don't want to come across the 1 in 1,000 circumstances where the thing slips, right? It slips off of there and cuts me. It's pretty unlikely because I'm going to be putting pressure on the blade, pushing this backwards into the stop pin. In some rare circumstances, you cut into something dense and thick and you're trying to wiggle it back out, and maybe you put a little bit of pressure on the spine, maybe it slips. Not likely, but I don't like to see. Can you hear it? I don't like to see or hear that. That is a big no. You know, maybe they're not all like that. Maybe this is a weird one. Let me tell you my other issue with this. Hey, you guys know it's coming because you guys have already looked it up. For those of you who haven't, what's the price on this? $400? Am I missing something? $400. At first I thought, no, and that's manufacturer's suggested retail price, or MSRP. I was like, no. What does this go for on retailers? Well, I couldn't find it. Then I found some videos where people were saying, is this really worth $400? What? $400? I'm sorry, $395? Listen, I like Giant Mouse knives. I do. I own one. I think that their knives are pretty good. A lot of the stuff that they make is recommendable. They make some stuff that's not recommendable. I've never known them for having outrageous price points. Now, admittedly, this is probably the nicest Giant Mouse knife that I have ever seen. But I was expecting to see $280, $300. I was like, this has to have some special detail that I'm not. What on earth is making this knife cost $395? There's got to be something. They want $395 for this. No, this is not a $395 knife. It's made in Italy. Okay. Lion Steel has titanium integrals that don't cost this much. And their knives are made in Italy using M390. Fairly similar feel. What? Why? Number one, that's the lockup issue. Again, maybe this is a bad example. That is a big issue. That would be a no from me. But even if it were solid, no. 300 max. But I mean, again, this is an opinion channel. This is just my opinion, right? None of what I'm saying is universal fact. This is all based on other things that I have handled that are manufactured in the same geographic location with similar quality and materials, right? And I even put it up against other things in my head that are just in a similar price point that are not necessarily manufactured. I've reviewed a lot of knives. I've got 2,100 videos on this channel. I've touched a lot of knives. That doesn't make me a professional. It just makes me somebody who's handled a lot of stuff. And as is the case with anybody, after you handle a lot of the same type of stuff, you start to get an idea, a pretty good idea of what you expect at a certain price point. This is not a $400 knife. It's beautiful. No question about it. It's beautiful. And the fit and finish is pretty good. And the action's better than a normal. The action's not spectacular, but it's good. Very beautiful. Love the texture. There's a lot of elements here that I really like, especially that opening hole there. Oh man, they probably could have just gotten rid of the flipper tab, honestly. I don't think this needs a flipper tab. Yeah, the lockup issue is huge. That geometry with the tang sloping so much like that, yeah, I don't like that. And then the price tag. I'm literally, after I finish this video, I'm going to go and search and find, because I am hoping to find out that this knife actually doesn't cost that much. But if you're watching this right now, if I uploaded it, it means that I confirmed that they really want $395 for it. Again, nothing against Giant Mouse. They've always been just, it's like, yeah, they're pretty good. That's how I've viewed them. I have a lot of respect for Giant Mouse knives. But this, 400. No, I own a lot of $400 knives right around that territory. That sounds like a flex. I have purchased many knives that are in that territory. And, a lot of people are going to go, I know the type of knives you buy for $400, and I would say that you don't have a very good idea of what $400 can actually buy you. All right, fair enough. If you value my opinion, which you don't have to, right? This is not a $400 knife. Sorry. Very cool. I would have been that would have been my only gripe. Had the lockup been good, I would have just been like, they're just way overpriced. They're $100 too high. And even there, right? It's like I always give a little bit of leeway, right? I always give like a $25 safe zone because a lot of people are going to go, I'd say $275. No, I'd say $278 and 42 cents. Okay, all right, right? In my brain, it's like $275, but okay, you pump it up to $300, and all right, A lot of titanium frame locks out there doing the same kind of thing, right? From China, that costs a lot less. Okay, again, I'm going to guess that manufacturing in Italy is probably more than China, more cost, right? So yeah, 300 would have been like about as high as I would have liked to see it. $395. Okay. Sorry guys, I can't recommend this, but it was still really cool to check this one out. I'm really glad that I got my hands on this. I spent so much time with this knife, just getting a feel for it, of course, discovering the lock stick. I didn't actually find out what the price of this thing was until just a couple of days before I did this video. I've had this knife for a couple of weeks now. I just looked up the price and was like, what? Why? Okay, I've been saying the same thing over and over again for a bit now. Anyways, thank you so much to the gentleman who sent this in. I did enjoy this knife, and it's a beautiful aesthetic. I just can't recommend it. Anyways, I hope that you were at least mildly entertained by this video. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you did enjoy this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do of course have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.